Hello once again to Calabar fans. Today we have the opportunity to talk to another outstanding Calabar personality, someone who you know mostly because of the proteges that she has produced for Calabar. Our privilege this afternoon is to talk to none other than Andrea Hardware. Andrea, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great, good to have you with us today, Andrea. We're at the Stadium Eastfield, and of course, at this time of year, there's one thing on our minds. What's that, Andrea?
Championships.
Of course, we're looking to win championships again. This would be our fourth consecutive year. And we took the opportunity this afternoon to talk to Andrea and let you know some of the personalities behind the successful track team. And Andrea is who we're talking to today. Andrea, where did it start? Tell us a little bit about who Andrea Hardware is.
Who am I? Well, let's stick to track and field. I started working with Calabar High School when my son went to Calabar, Javon Hardware. Javon was very successful in the high jump, as our champs fans would know and appreciate. And when he left, I continued because it's something that I really enjoy. It's very rewarding to see your involvement with a youngster and see how they progress. Right. From a no-name to very outstanding schoolboy athletes at the end of the day.
Right. What year would that have been? Just remind everybody, what year would you have started with him?
2006, actually.
Right. And today you are the driving force behind the management team behind the Calabar track team.
Yes, it is. Yes, I am. I suppose. I mean, although I am the leader, I do have a very strong team behind us. I mean, these are mainly women, but we do have some men, and we're totally committed to the program. I mean, people have given their personal time, personal resources to the success of the track team, and we continue to do it every year. And I mean, I must point out that although our focus and what we're known for is our support of the track team, but we do play a big role in the academic pursuits of these boys. I mean, we give of ourselves personally after champs in getting them ready for CXCs and Saturday classes leading up to champs, so that at the end of the day, they not only are successful on the track, but they're also successful in the classroom.
Okay, excellent segue, because the next thing I was going to ask you now is to brag a little bit, Andrea, show off a little bit. Who are some of the outstanding names that you have had the privilege of leading? Javon, of course, your own son, but tell us more about the other young boys that you have been able to influence through Calabar and produce into track stars.
Lord, I really don't know how to brag. I don't know how to brag. I'm very proud of quite a few youngsters who have had the privilege of working with, from as far back as Ramon McKenzie, Warren Ware, O'Shane Bailey, Jason Livermore, some of those boys who were successful in high school. In terms of hurdles and high jump, Adrian Riley, his brother Andrew Riley, yes, as well, and some of the current ones, Michael O'Hara, of course, Javon Francis. Right. Then there's the underclass elites, one of which is my own grandson, so I can brag about that. Deja Russell. Deja Russell is my grandson. So, I mean, it is just, I can't overemphasize how fulfilling it is to really, really and truly see these boys. I mean, when I saw Warren running that Olympic race where he came third, and the way he was running the last 30 meters of that race reminded me so much of when he was in high school, because when he's under pressure, him form change and him tighten up, and all you can see is the head rocking to side. It was just so rewarding. But yeah, it continues to inspire me. It continues. It's stressful, It's stressful, but it's fulfilling, and it really is inspirational to see these boys.
Okay, great. And we know, Andrea, that I can say it, maybe you won't say it, but Calabar's success would not be what it was weren't it for people like yourself, committed, as you say, assisting in raising funds, guiding the young men, mentoring them throughout. When the tough times are there, you're there to encourage them and so on. Where do you get your own inspiration from? Let's hear a little bit about your own background and what is it that causes you to be so committed to a program like this one?
Boy, I don't know. I'm a sports person myself. I played netball while I was in high school at Merle Grove. I don't know
Right.
if maybe that is why I love Calabar so
Probably,
much.
probably.
So I played netball.
Okay.
I played up to the club league.
Okay.
In my younger days, my husband, I mean, it's my ex-husband now,
Sure,
but I
sure,
mean,
sure, sure.
we're still very much legally married.
Mm,
Anyway, so he played football.
okay.
There were two brothers of them, so it was Devon and Milton who played football for Jamaica and was very, very prominent in football those days. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that Javon, my son Javon,
Right.
chose track and field. He's
Over
also a
football.
very good footballer,
Okay,
but
right.
he didn't pursue football when he was at Calabar. So I am a sports enthusiast. I mean, I was born with football,
Mm-hmm.
but the love of track and field is really was about supporting my child who was
Right.
very much involved, and I grew to love it. So that's kind of where my enthusiasm for sports comes. There's a lot of the energy and the commitment and the tenacity of these boys
Right.
reminds me of myself.
Right.
I often say to my children, if I had the kind of support that these boys have in somebody like myself and the rest of the management committee,
Mm-hmm.
I might have pursued a career in sports. I might have played netball to the highest
All the
level,
way,
you know.
yes, yes.
I used to do a little bit of hurdling when
Mm,
when I was in school. So I might have become a hurdler.
right.
But I never had the kind of support, you know,
Okay.
nor the exposure
Right.
when I was young. So there's a lot of what they do that reminds me of my own commitment and drive and energy to achieve stuff. And I don't know, maybe it resonates. I don't know.
Okay, great. Of course, thanks for that, Andrea. And you know, one of the things that the occasional track fan will know, of course, they'll know the names, they'll see the times, and they'll be excited when we win champs on champs night. Everybody's jumping around. But here we are in March and earlier in the year too. There's a lot of work that goes into it. What? Give us an idea of the kind of commitment, the amount of time it takes for someone like yourself. The moment the season starts, and even before that, what's involved in preparing a track team to win champs?
A lot of it is about the relationship with the boys. It's about building that relationship from September morning, from the first day of training.
Right.
Is really to meet with them, engage with them, talk to them a little bit about the school and its rich history with especially with track and field.
Right.
It's to talk to them about the level of commitment and discipline that we expect of them. You know, it's about ensuring that they understand the balance between their academics and track and field, because from very, very early we let them know that if you're not performing academically, then you're not eligible to be a part of the track team.
Right.
So it's about building that relationship from day one with them.
Right.
And having spent so many years with this track team, the boys, you know, we're working with now our boys who came in at class 4 and they're now in class 1 and so on. So it's, I mean, they all call us aunties,
Of
you know,
course,
it's Auntie
yes,
Hardware, Auntie
yes,
Sean, and I mean,
yes.
that's the kind of relationship we have with them. We also, from very early, identify the boys who are socially challenged
Okay.
and financially challenged as well, and we pair them, you know, with members of the committee. So you will have one member mentoring 2, 3, 4 boys. We take them in our homes, you know,
Okay.
and we guide them, we expose them to a different way of life,
Right.
and we get them to, you know, to understand the level of discipline and the level of hard work and commitment that is required to be successful. But it's all about relationship. It's all about understanding them when they hurt. I mean, some of the things these boys talk to us about,
Right.
they don't talk to their parents about.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing that is uncensored with
Good.
you know, is censored with them in terms of our engagement with them. So again, it's about relationship. And I don't know, I have a special love for boys because
Really?
I just feel that
Yes.
they need to be protected because they're so marginalized, you
Indeed,
know.
indeed,
They're
indeed.
so marginalized, and so I feel this need to protect them. And I mean, the school and I have had a lot of quarrel about
Okay.
their own way of disciplining these boys, because I think a lot of times they get themselves into trouble not because they're bad kids, but because people don't understand them.
Right.
And I mean, I am always sharing with the principal and the chairman and the vice principal that I don't understand how we're able to get along with these boys so much more than your teachers are getting along with these boys.
yes.
Is it that you're not spending? Yeah, I know you have more boys to deal with, but is it that you're not spending enough time? Is it that your teachers need more training? You know, what is it? Tell me, because I mean, I'm also prepared to give support to the school, because I just feel if they understand them a little bit more, they'll get more out of them.
Of course, no doubt, no doubt.
You know, so yeah, I mean, so that's kind of what we do. That's the crux. That's the foundation of managing a team this size. The other thing that we do is that, especially with the boys doing 60s, is to make sure that their SBAs give them support in that regard. We also do extra classes on a Saturday with them. We need to do more of that, because this year that program has been affected because of time. So we need to do a lot more of that. And then during Christmas, they spend 3 weeks in a Christmas camp at school. And that in and of itself is very taxing, because we all have to be at school every evening with them. We make sure we feed them. I mean, sometimes the classroom boys literally feed them, and it's almost like a spoon feeding them, because they're picky and them don't want to eat, and you know, exactly. And so if the training twice per day during Christmas camp is very nutrition becomes very important. So it's feeding them, making sure that they're eating, and throughout those 15-20 days of Christmas camp. And then from the very first track meet, which usually we have a track meet in December. This year we didn't have one, so our first meet was actually in January. It's a plan for that track meet, and we meet every week as a team. We review the technical competencies of the boys. How are they progressing? What are their times? Are their times coming down? You know, are there any injuries? Are there any gaps in terms of, do we need additional equipment? We have enough pole vaults, we have enough discuts, we have shot put, we have boxes for the jumps. What is it we need? And we plan that out, and we identify where gaps are very, very early so that we can fill them. So that happens. I mean, a very, very big part of what we do is nutrition. So we feed the boys a lunch every day. Every boy gets a lunch every day. We make sure that they have their hydration during training. They have ice. As a boy squeal for, we see them limping, they go straight to the doctor. We take no risk with that. And you would have observed, and the people listening would have observed, that we have managed injuries very, very seriously. I mean, not a lot of our boys have any major injury. So we also do that. And then a big part of what we do is raise funds.
Of course.
Is raise funds. I mean, and exactly.
Yes.
And the Calabar community has been very, very generous to us. Each time that we stretch, persons have been there to respond. We understand that the economic times are tough, and it becomes more and more difficult. But by and large, we've had, supporters, members of the family who have contributed and still contribute to the success of this program. So that's what we do on a Saturday morning when we're preparing for each track meet. I myself, I get up from 3 o'clock Saturday morning to do the porridge and the soup and make sure that is done. So I don't have any life from January to the end of March, right? So we do that just to make sure that when they come to the track meet at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning, they have something warm in their bellies. They have, one of the things that we insist is that no boy must come to a track meet late, because you can't tell me that you have to wait on your breakfast or anything like that. It's all prepared for you here at the stadium. So it's kind of what we do. I mean, sometimes a boy may underperform and is a lot of balling, because when they don't do well, they feel pain. I mean, it pains them when they don't do well. So on a Saturday when a boy don't do well, is a lot of crying, and you have to be there to console and to encourage and to let them know that, look, this is what builds your character. It is what you're doing now is life. You have to get up, you have to dust yourself off, and you have to go again. So so kind of sort of that's what we do. And of course we laugh with them, and we tease them a lot. I mean, when a boy come last, we laugh after them, right? So we tease. So we also have fun with them.
Right.
You know.
And I know you keep, well, listeners will hear you referring to we all the time. And of
Yeah.
course, yes, we're interviewing you, but you're representing a management group. Give us a sense, Andrea. Yes, you work very closely with the coaching team,
Yeah.
but your support team, the management team, who are we talking about? You want to call some names, acknowledge some people at this point?
Sure. My own daughter, Anisia Hardware,
Sure.
has been a member of the management committee for as long as I have been.
Right.
Like me, she supports her brothers, anything that they're doing, so she would have been there with Javon in the early days.
Right.
So there's Anisia, there's Simone Wardlow, there's Lorraine McKenzie, Ramon McKenzie's mom.
Right.
We're still very much apart, although we don't have any kids in the program. Well, I have a grandchild.
Right.
And there's Lorna Green, there is Mel. Mel is the mother of the team. I mean, we cannot pay Mel for what she does for this team. There's no way we can compensate Mel for what she does for this team. Johan Shaw, who is a old boy. Many of you would know Johan.
Sure.
Am I forgetting Dr. Morrison, Dr. Walcott, you know, as team doctors, they're there. There is who else? Lorna. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. You know? If I forget anybody, please forgive me. But
the Calabar family will forgive you if you overlook it. Of course, you work closely with the association.
Yeah, man. Very. And there's a strong community of old boys in New York.
Yes.
Led by Floyd Howell and Dr. Philbert and those guys who every year gives, you know, without any holding back.
There's Canada and South Florida
and the rest,
and UK,
you know,
everybody supports.
gives the support. So, you know, we really do have a strong support system. But the core team, as I've named them, are the ones who pretty much carry this team. There's a new member that just joined us. I mean, we have about 3 new members that has joined the committee. Mr. Chin, who is his son throws the shot and the disc, Andre Chin. So he has joined and is making significant contribution as well. Trevor, don't even remember Trevor's last name. Trevor is also there. Then there's Sophia Smith Pinchy, as we call her. There are new members of the team, and I mean, we've brought these people into the core team. And there's Philip Williams too. Let me not forget Philip. Yes. So we've brought new members into the core team because I mean, I recognize that there are some of us who might want to be moving on sometime soon, and you know, when I leave, the team must not the team must not collapse. You know, I would love to win champs for another 10 years, like Casey did.
That's a plan. That's a plan. we're all with you on that.
Oh yes, I'd love to do that.
We're year 4, and there's more to come.
Yeah.
For sure, absolutely. And I mean, I guess we could segue into what our prospects look like for 2015. Last year, I know amongst most old boys, the question wasn't if we were going to win, but by how many points. What's your take on this year's championship?
Listen, I am not going to call it. One of the things that I have learned, and many of you would remember 2009,
yes, 2009
we had the team to win. I mean, I was depressed for 2 weeks because I couldn't believe that we lost champs and lost it the way we did. For me, champs is not won until the night of the 28th in this case. I mean, until that 4x4 is run, champs is not won. And I think that is probably what makes us successful, because every day we come and the boys compete is as if this is a qualifying race. You have to go into the race knowing that you have to go all out. So I'm not gonna say when the race is, the 4x4 is over on the 28th, then we will see who the champion is. But we do have there you go. We have a very good team, I know, and the boys are training very well, and led by Michael O'Hara, they are confident that they will defend. But as I said, as a manager, I cannot lose sight. Can't lose sight.
Of course not. And the Calabar fans wouldn't forgive you if you made a prediction that didn't come true. So very cautious response, but we kind of know the language. We can decode what that means, right? So we'll see what happens come the 28th of March. Andrea, a little bit controversial now, but it does touch on concern this sport, and you know, I wouldn't leave without getting your take on this issue that has been topical in the Jamaican education system within the last few weeks, and that is the whole question of recruitment of athletes, colloquially called buying. Let's get your take on that as a former parent and effectively still a parent, grandparent, and a supporter of Calabar generally and the track team in particular. What's your take on the new proposals in relation to that?
Boy, this is not going to be public, right? But this is my personal opinion. I really do not. I don't have a problem with a child who wants to go place, or a parent who wants to put a child in an institution
Right.
that is going to take care of their talent.
And support, yes.
Whether that talent is track and field, whether that talent is their academic achievement or success,
Right.
whatever that talent is,
Right.
I don't have a problem with a parent who wants to put their child there.
Right.
I don't know about the buying that
Sure.
is being talked about.
Right.
If a boy comes into our program, it is about coming into the program for what you can get out of the program.
Right.
And the program is about your education,
Sure.
and it is about developing your track and field talent,
Right.
if that's what you're good at. A lot of boys come into our program and they're not successful in track and field, and they become very successful in the classroom.
Okay.
So I really do not have a problem. I make those decisions for my children.
Right.
And I put them in institutions that will, enhance and build on the talent that they have.
Right.
Listen, success breeds success.
Of course.
And if you have a
Without a
successful
doubt.
child and a talented child, why not put him or her where
Yes.
they can excel?
Exactly.
That's just
Excellent.
my take on it.
Great stuff. Good answer. And as much as it's not an official position from Calabar track team or from Calabar, it certainly is one that resounds with many of us. And we, just from observing, would recognize that most of these boys, if not all of them, come out much better young men, having had the benefit of being exposed to the Calabar track program and the football program and other things by virtue of this process. So what we're saying is, where the child is likely to benefit, absolutely go for it and provide them that support. Going to close off on this at this time to allow Andrea to go back to your substantive
Yes,
duties.
please.
Andrea.
As Michael
it's
would
been
say,
a
I have a
pleasure.
chance to win.
You have a chance to win, and of course, we want to be there to celebrate as well. So I want to thank you again, Andrea Hardware, head of the Calabar Management track team management group, and wish you continued success personally, professionally, and so on. And of course, come Saturday night, Champs Night, we'll all be celebrating together. Thanks
you
a
very
lot,
much,
Andrea.
Owen.
Good,
Thanks.
all the best.
All right.
All right. Good stuff.